did one of them black trucks ride up to you and put their beamers on you while you walking with your grandkids? Did one almost hit you with that truck, sir? The black truck with the guy with the suits on. Did they, sir? No. Have you been harassed, sir? Have your kids been beat up, sir? Have your kids been
So
beat up,
hold on. What we're not gonna do is hold on, brother. Hold on. We're not gonna go back and forth, right? Because her point is your experience is your experience, but what folks have been experiencing up here has been quite different. Right, and I think what we've heard today is that different experience, right? So I appreciate you sharing what your experience has been, right? And I think it may be a little different down there versus how it is up here, right? But back to the initial question, while we're here, right? What does says we want to go to the brother because what we're trying to do is actually figure out how to get the cops out of the community, and he's the one to be able to do that. So what does that look like?
So this is what the discussion is about, right? We want to find out from you guys, and this is everyone, okay? Us pulling out of the community, giving you back the community, but still maintaining the quality of life, right? I want to know, what do you want to see, right? From your police once we do leave, right? Because I want to make sure that we still have the officers here, but also we want them to engage. When I say engage, I'm talking about community engagement, right? I'm not talking about engagement as enforcement. I want to see if we can holistically do this by bringing, that's why we have DPW here. That's why we have the mayor's office here, the district leaders here, so we can take down some of the dilapidated buildings, take care of some of the issues that we're having with the sewer systems, the rodent problem out here as well, and also the prostitution. That's why I believe Hope One or Bridges or someone who represents them are out here today. So how holistically we could come together, clean up this community, right? So that everybody, not just on Cypress, but on Voorhees, on Beverly, on Leslie, and even Girard, because we have residuals on Girard as well. How do we do that collectively as a team? Not the police against the community, but we're doing it together. That's why when they brought up this idea for us to sit down, I was open with that. And I sat here and I let you guys, say what you had to say, your experience. I empathize with that. I understand that. I didn't run from the conversation. I'm here so we can do better. Pull the officers out of here, but still maintain the quality of life for everyone. But I need to hear what you guys want to see. I really need to hear that so I can see how it looks for us and for them.
Can we acknowledge the incident? I think everybody, in my view, is kind of skirting over the real incident that started this whole Cypress situation. And that occurred on June 1st. And nobody seems quite ready to speak about that. And I don't know, and you approached me earlier, Mr. Will, and said the last forum that I was out, I wasn't prepped about where I was, and I spoke. So I want to speak here, but I feel again that I'm not prepped for this situation.
This is a whole different.
Okay, so here's the issue, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Rodwell Spivey family in particular, because they cannot, at least the sons, cannot speak because they have criminal charges pending. So the issue is that members of the Newark Police Department, along with one member of the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, I believe, came down, in our view, and ran down on these three brothers who were merely standing out in front of their house, looking at clothing. It was broad daylight, around 1:30. And again, I encourage everybody to look at the beginning of the video that has been put up on social media, that has been put up on the police website. Look at the beginning of that video and you will see that these brothers were doing absolutely nothing. Let's start right there. If we're going to talk about police working with the community, I don't think it's fair for our captain here, who I understand is over the South Ward, which Cypress is a part of, I believe, okay, to sit here and say, well, it's not me. I wasn't the one. it's somebody else. You are the head, sir. So it is important that you, as the head, and everybody else who's underneath you, to acknowledge what happened and why people are disgruntled. If we're going to just talk all over that, then what is the point of us being here? The last time I tried to speak to you, sir, at the separate forum, you started talking about a party and somebody saying something about your genitals. That had nothing to do with what occurred on that day with these young men. And that's what the disconnect is. We can talk all day here and all night, but if we're not addressing the real issue at hand, then what's the point? It's just like performance art. And why, you know, a lot of us don't have time for that. We came here for a real discussion. So if we're gonna have a real discussion and to include that particular incident, then let's have it. If not, then, you know, I will excuse myself because I have other things to do. And I would encourage that my family, who I represent, we all excuse ourselves. And you guys can talk about whatever it is you want to talk about.
Unfortunately, I can't speak about that incident.
Yo, how about the let me ask this. Somebody said something about block parties. Every time we pull the grill out, they think it's a block party. Every time we play a little bit of music on the porch, they come down and tell us to turn our music down. On Father's Day, they came down and told us we only had 25 people in front of the house. I told them that was bullshit because I knew it was bullshit. We can cook out on our porch if we want. We can play music if we want without them coming down there and tell us to turn our shit down. We don't tell nobody else in the block to turn their music down. Every time we pull our grill out, that's when they build up their police presence, and that's when they come down there and mess with us. The day we had the rally in front of the 5th precinct, the helicopter came down here, and they could have landed in that lot right there. The helicopter was low like this, and was sitting there looking at the house. You don't know about that, do you? Ask the helicopter boy.
No, sir.
Why don't you
You don't know about nothing.
They came down low. They could have landed in that lot. They could have landed in that lot. I said, oh, that's why they tore the house down, so the helicopter could land there.
They put their music on. Their household put their
Yeah, we
music
just
on.
tested
They
it,
got
yup.
told to turn theirs down. We put ours up.
Loud.
Nobody
Came
told
down
us
all
to
night,
turn
harassing me and my family. Why?
That's an issue.
They told us whatever goes on our porch and whatever goes on that
After the
porch,
first.
it goes together. They said we can join.
That's
It has nothing to do with us.
Everything is, yup.
On Father's Day. You said no. Where?
This is the captain right there.
They're not talking about me.
I know you're the captain of the South
captain of
Ward.
Yeah, but they're talking about another captain right now.
How many captains in the South?
Yeah, how many is it?
There's one captain in the South, but there's several captains in the city.
Well, we talk about Cypress, so we talk about you.
No, I just want to remind everybody, we talking about moving forward and not trying to take anything away to the current
Can't move
litigation
forward
that's
if
going
you don't
on.
get to the
I keep hearing people saying stuff about complaints. I just want to remind them, everyone that's out here, as far as the residents, homeowners, or renters, there are several layers where you can voice your concerns, complaints anonymously. You have the representative from the mayor's office. Now let me say this, because we get many complaints, and people want to rename anonymously and fear retaliation. You have the mayor's office that you could be called upon. You have the South Ward Councilman John James' office. You got the North Community Street Team, Brick City Alliance. So, I mean, Will, what can we do? Do we need to put out a bunch of flyers with those names, numbers, and emails and pass them around to remind these people, if you're unfair for whatever reason of calling the police, there's other people you could call to voice your complaints about anything. That stuff had been here before the pandemic. You know?
To answer your question, yes,
Yes.
right? We should all be doing that. We need to do it more consistently, right? So folks know that they can actually access the resource.
What was said about the cops coming down here while we trying to cook out and play music and all stuff like that. Everybody just skip right over that.
I just had a little something to add to it.
Well, so I wasn't here for that, but I know. Listen, I received a phone call that some individuals on Cypress wanted to have a Father's Day event, and the instructions were given saying you guys can have that event on your property. You just can't allow too many people where it actually infringes on the street. So my understanding is that you guys were allowed to have that Father's Day event. It was just the amount of people were controlled, and I believe the amount was about 25 people.
But that same day, they actually ID'd people and wouldn't let people come down the block.
Right.
They stopped people from coming. They stopped family from coming to the Father's
Yup,
Day.
yes they did.
And my understanding as well is that the captain that was here was in communications with the people at the house, and they were actually allowing family to come down as well.
Yeah, because
And hold up. And even when I spoke to because I came here after Father's Day, and I spoke to a couple of the Rodwells at the house. They concurred that, yeah, it was family that was here. They did allow it. However, family did get stopped, but when some family exited, they allowed more to come in.
Wasn't even 25 people.
I don't understand. I think the governor says you can have more than that.
But it wasn't 25
So I don't.
people.
Why are you containing
Well,
family members?
just to remind anybody,
That's us.
there's not any poisonous darts. The first 2 block parties were held during the pandemic, and
We're not
the
talking
governor's
about
that.
orders
We're
was
not
not
talking
lifted.
Yeah,
I
so
just want to put that out there.
But we're not talking
we
about
understand
that.
but
Like, why would
what
you?
we're talking about is the brother specific questions on Father's Day, right? And I think, hold on 1 second, right? Because I think Captain Peppers, you attempted to ask that question, right? And answer that question, what he said, right? Because it was 25 people, there was an issue. Their experience was different from what you have heard, right? And this is what we keep hearing over and over, right?
I spoke to them after that, so now that I'm hearing a different experience. But I came myself.
Okay.
And spoke to them on the porch, and I said, well, I was told. He said, well, yeah, but they wanted more, and
Okay.
it was limited.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that experience that he has sounds like the same experience in terms of the IDing and stopping people coming back and forth
Right.
is, again, what we've been continuing to hear.
Right.
You just might want to talk.
Good evening. I'm Natasha Allen. I'm Mayor Baraka's senior aide for the South Ward, and I just, and I get what everything is going on, and we're here to hear what you guys have to say. But I just wanted to make it a point because you said I thought that the governor lifted some numbers. Yes, the governor did lift the numbers in the state of New Jersey. However, our mayor continues to tell us that Newark is our city and we need our own prescription. So what works for other people, in other cities doesn't necessarily work for Newark. So although the governor may open it up, the mayor still has the ability to leave some restrictions in place. So there are numbers and things that don't necessarily.
What is the numbers for Newark? What is the numbers for
So
Newark?
it's not an exact science. So what it is that no, I'm just telling you it's not an exact science. But what I'm speaking to is that the governor lifts things. Even when the governor said New Jersey schools are not wearing masks in September, right? The mayor says we absolutely are. So there is a differentiation between what the governor says and what I gave you.
You
the
just
best
said
answer.
you say there's no exact science. So
okay.
Maybe we could ask the council.
Yeah.
No, hold on, sis. No, we're not talking about putting him on the spot right now. So I'm sure he does not know.
He's here. Everybody on the spot.
Know the law.
Oh, you don't know the law?
Why don't know?
Oh, why don't
know the law?
know anything?
That man knows.
To the people, look here.
He don't know. Let that man be on the spot.
Hold on. We're going to get everybody in the conversation.
Let that man be on the spot.
But what we're going to do is real quick. I'm going to ask you to be brief, solely because we want to get to the summary of our conversation for right here tonight, because I know what you talked about in the South Ward Public Safety Roundtable is actually getting folks kind of back to where they were in terms of the absence of police presence at this rate. And I want to make sure that we walk away understanding that that's the goal and figuring out what those steps are going to be to actually get law enforcement out of here. So I'm going to give you the floor for a couple minutes.
I say all power to the people.
All power to the people.
I say all power to the people.
All power to the people.
Hey, yo, back there, I say all power to the people.
All power to the people.
Hey, look, man. Hey, we are the people. Our tax dollars pay for this government, pay for this office's paycheck. Yo, without our taxes, they can't feed their family or house themselves. Yo, we're here to ask, the community is here to ask, yo, why justice still locked up? How come those police officers that violated the consent decree haven't been held accountable? Why are they still on duty working? Yo, this police officer came the next day. That truck, everything that's around here, came the next day after they brutalized and kidnapped those kids. Till now, we can't get nobody down at the police department anywhere to tell us if they're being investigated or what's going on, why they're still on duty. That's what this family's trying to find out. And why her son is not home. Even though they found no gun, they found nothing on them. Why are they not home? Why are they still being kidnapped? Because if you have no charges, if you had nothing on you, that is a kidnapping. And it's against the consent decree. Now, if you don't know what the consent decree is, they found out that the police in Newark are corrupt. They're corrupt, they're racist. From the top down, the police are corrupt. They put stuff on people, they can't be trusted. So they put a monitor. They paid them $8 million to monitor the police. And we got it on video, the police jumping out the car in plain clothes, beating these brothers up down here. Why haven't they been held accountable? You see, that's what causes the friction in the community. Police talking to people, having round tables where they don't have no answers, Like, that doesn't help the situation. Until you free these brothers and show us that the police are being held accountable, you're gonna have an issue here. And that's why everybody came out. That's why I came here. I thought when I came here, you're gonna tell us, like, yo, the brothers are gonna get let go, like there's no charges on them, there's no need for them to be locked up, and the police are gonna be held accountable. That's what we thought was coming here. But from what I'm hearing, there's no answers about anything. There's no accountability. The only people accountable are the citizens, the taxpayers that live here. And there's something wrong with that. There's something inherently wrong with that. Like, I don't know you, brother. I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you. But if my son was being accosted by the police, yo, shit gonna get shaken.
Yes.
I'm not gonna stand there and let them do him like George Floyd.
No.
And these police are not being held accountable. A statue downtown is not accountability. Nope. And we are asking you as citizens. You said you want to have a dialogue with us down home. Why the police not being held accountable, and why them frivolous charges haven't been dropped? Now this is where you're supposed to come back and give us an answer. Not I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Like, that's not an answer, brother.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna say one thing, actually two things, right? I think the only question that he could probably answer right now is what's going on around police accountability, to be frank, right? Because he's not the one that's kind of submitting the charges, I don't think, right? Right.
But then what are you doing here, bro?
No. Hold on. It's but
Newark Police Department. Well, okay.
hold on, sis. Because
you keep saying him as an individual.
yeah, because I understand it, but he's not the one that's going to be able to provide the answers,
Who's
right?
gonna provide it?
I mean, we need to get other people
who's
here.
gonna provide it?
I
Then
would
we
say
go see
deputy
that
chiefs
person.
and chiefs.
The who?
The deputy chiefs and chiefs. We need to have a conversation.
Who's the deputy chief and chief? Give me a name.
Brother, you don't know who they are?
No, obviously we don't even know.
We don't know what's going on. We drunk as hell out here. That's why we out here.
Okay,
knows.
so the chief of the Newark Police is Chief Douglas, and the
Chief
public
Douglas?
safety director is Brian O'Hara.
Brian O'Hara. I talked to Brian.
Okay, Africa, hold on one second, right? I want to give him an opportunity to actually do what you wanted, right? Around the police accountability.
Got you.
What does that look like? And what can people do to find out what
And
the
what's going on with
accountability
the
measures?
consent decree?
Hold on, sis. That's
Consent
not
decree.
what we. I'm trying to get to the
It's
brother's
part of the-
question.
No, that's part of my
Consent
question. They
decree.
violated the consent decree.
I get it, but that's part of the accountability,
Exactly.
right? Exactly. So can you just speak on what police accountability looks like in this specific situation, and how can people find out more information about it? And then, right, as I give you the mic, talk about, if you can, right, what it looks like for y'all to remove the cops from this neighborhood.
All right, so there is an investigation that's going on. So we can't. That's how accountable that we can be at this point. They conduct an investigation. If they find out that the officers violated any of the rules and regulations or any of the New Jersey Criminal Code, they will be charged and they will be disciplined. Right? I can't speak on that right now because all that is an active investigation. So I can't say what it's going to look like a month from now, 2 months from now. I'm not even part of that investigation. Even at this time, I believe that it's a county investigation, not even a Newark police investigation at this point. So I can't speak on another agency and how they're handling the situation at this point, right? But I do want to get back to how it's going to look, right, for your community in the next few days, right? And while we are here, right, one thing I can say, since we've been here, right, we went to probably about, crime-wise, 8 incidents within a month, right, for violent crimes to no incidents, right? So I want to try to keep that same, and I'm not talking about just calls for service. Calls for services in the hundreds. Right now, we're at almost maybe 3 calls for service. And I'm off on the numbers because I don't have it in front of me, but which is a drastic change. So I want to know, how do we still maintain that, right, once we do pull out? And I'm not asking for it to be perfect, right, but I just want to make sure that, because there are people that are not present, that do email, that do anonymously make phone calls to the mayor's office, to the district leaders, about their quality of life in this area, that I do have to also take into consideration, right? So I just want to make sure when we pull out of here, right, we can still continue the engagement with each other. And how does that look? Maybe getting a representative, starting a block watch association, right? Having my CSOs, which that means my community service officers, come up, have weekly meetings, try to establish, right? Try to establish where we have an open line of communication, and as well allow you guys to be more autonomous, right? So that you can do things and run this area on your own, right? Without having the violence that we were having within this grid. Also, getting the collectives that are here involved and just making sure, you know, we're addressing the issues of the abandoned cars, the houses that are being utilized by squatters and by prostitution, getting rid of dilapidated homes, and just giving your area also a makeup. How holistically we can do that together by still continue to engage in conversations. That's what I want to see for your community, and that's what I hope that you guys want to see when we pull out of here. So
when is that happening? Like you said, a couple of days.
Well, I don't want to be stamped to a date because I still have to speak to, you know, the chief director. However, I'm tentatively looking at Monday. Tentatively.
And that would include that mobile unit
yes,
right
ma'am.
there? Okay.
Is there a way that because you said you had no say on this mobile unit being right here?
No.
Is there a way that you can actually just have that move prior to Monday to another location?
Well, again, I would have to speak to, you know, the chief, the director, things of that nature.
Okay.
All right. So,
all right. I mean,
okay.
if you check on that,
I'll check on it. I can check on it. Okay. So, but I also want to redeploy a walk and ride unit here where they'll be here. They'll be here at your disposal. They can be engaging. You can talk to them, and just to still help maintain, you know, sustain some of the things that were already done here. Okay.
And in terms of the accountability for those officers that you're saying, once everybody leaves, that they'll still be walking around, right? Because that's what you said, right? Once you pull out, right, there's still going to be a walk and ride unit.
Exactly.
So what does accountability look like for those officers that are going to be here? And how do community residents that live in this neighborhood make sure there is real accountability?
So what happens is they're going to receive what we call a directed patrol. So I'm going to require them to do, you know, several business checks, also several community engagement activities. That report will come to me daily on what the officers' activities are that day, how many community engagements that they participated in, how many residents or citizens that they had contact with, they talked to. So it's not going to be the typical like a stop report type of, it's going to be, oh, I spoke to, and you don't even have to give your name. I went to 22 Fabian and spoke to the people there. What are their issues? If there are some issues, there's be a citizen contact and whatever their issues may be, so that I'll know. So if they do complain and say, you know what, that building there, you know, we need it moved, then I'll know that, and then I can call the DPW, I can call the mayor's office and say, hey, listen, can we get somebody to come and maybe clean this up, right? So that's how it will look, and that would be the accountability piece for that. And what I'm trying to do is keep the regular officers so that you will know them, right, who they are. I'm not trying to switch faces up, but then again, I don't have control over that sometimes. If they get transferred and things of that nature, I don't have control over that. But I'm trying to keep the same officers here so that they can also get to know who's who in the community. All right.
Yo, you don't notice the disconnect? Yo, the people are saying here that the police are the problem, and he's trying to convince us like we need to work with the police, we need to know the police faces. Yo, these police have already committed a crime. If I committed a crime, yo, I'll be locked up right now.
Right.
There's no talk, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'll be in jail right now. If I walked up and I whooped anybody's ass out here, the police will lock me up. If I put my hands on her, the police will lock me up. Yo, these police are on camera, illegally violating the consent decree. Yo, we don't care about all the police that you're talking about that are gonna be here walking the block. Yo, we are scared of the police. We are in fear of them. We feel like they are a threat to our life. Yo, I came here last week. There were detectives parked right there. I recorded them. They were hiding all in their car and stuff. And I recorded, like, what y'all doing here? And they're lying. They said they're not police. And then there was another cop car parked right here. The cop car parked, they're like, yeah, they're police. Like, it's back and forth. Yo, we don't trust those officers. We need to know how you a cop, you a captain, How are you going to hold the people in the South, the police in the South Ward, accountable for the crime that they've already committed? We're not thinking about the future. I mean, we're thinking about right now. How are we going to hold those people accountable?
Because they're still jumping out.
They're still jumping out. I got another video by Dunkin' Donuts.
We got to be specific. Because what you talk about is holding specific officers.
How are we holding these police officers accountable?
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
And there's no answers.
We're not going to get that answer.
Then why are he here then, bro?
Because we're trying to get the cops out of here.
He's trying to slow talk us.
Nah, we're not. We're trying to pull the cops that are here out of here. That's what this whole conversation was about.
All of this is because of those kids that was brutalized right there.
And we're trying to get the cops out of here now.
Can I get an answer to this question then? If the dominant,
he said that's what he's gonna do.
If
He's
the
gonna
dominant,
he's gonna call the supervisors and make sure he can do it, and he's gonna move the truck.
You can do that today. That's not a difficult thing to do.
if the dominant,
Here's the real issue that Mr. African was speaking on. The point of the matter is that the brothers immediately, without investigation, without anything, got locked up and charged. One is still there from June 1st. So they the accountability is thrust upon them for some actions of some police officers, and police was quick to say what it was their position was. They were quick to release a press release. They were quick to put the video footage out there. But now the citizens are being told, we gotta wait. We can't say anything. Well, Justin Rodwell, he didn't wait. They didn't get a chance to figure out what's going on. It was an immediate thing. It was immediate violence towards individuals, private citizens on the street, immediate violations of the consent decree, immediately wrongdoing, captured on video, and there's no reprieve for these brothers. They have charges faced against them. One of their brothers is still locked up. So why do we have to, with a child that he has custody of, that the family members have to deal with because he's not here? So to say wait, we have to wait for the investigation. It's right there. What value is what you're saying? What value is it? It seems like you're just trying to, just push the issue down the road and start telling us about some number that we can call to get a building torn down. If there's a building here that's in disarray, y'all should already know to turn it down.
He said a lot more than just that.
That's my example.
I hear you. But we can't just skip over the fact that he did say on Monday.
He didn't say nothing.
He didn't say nothing.
Where's Justin coming home? When is the police going to be held accountable?
Well, what we're talking about right here.
That's what we're talking about.
That's not the conversation that this was set up to be, bro.
That's not the conversation. Then why we here then?
Because we wanted to hold the officers
out. Trying to stall everybody. Yo, where them brothers at, man? The brother got to come home.
They don't want to have that conversation.
That's the conversation we trying to have. I mean, y'all trying to stall everybody out, man. Like, real talk, bro.
Like, that's the conversation.
So for the folks that came out about trying to actually get law enforcement out of this neighborhood, we appreciate y'all actually bringing some stuff to the space.
Listen, the dominant safety concern.
Nah, because he's actually
telling you it's bigger than him. And that's what I'm saying. So he's saying most of this is bigger than him. If that's bigger than him, then most of this is bigger than him. That's what he's saying. He's saying most of this is out of his control. So I'm not trying to blame, sit here and trying to hold Peppers accountable. Peppers do what he got to do on his end. I'm not holding him accountable for nothing. This right here, you feel what I'm saying?
Yo, it's all black people around here, man.
My next question
Yo, this all black people.
Since we have the issue.
Well, I'm walking down the street not doing nothing. If a cop decides he wants to go ahead and do what he feels like and profile me, what's to protect myself from a cop going against his oath and slamming me to the ground without any RAS or PC? What do I do to protect myself at that moment?
I just went through that. We just went through that. I already told you what to do. Even
I'm not talking about a specific situation. I'm talking about in a general setting. What do I do to protect myself?
I gave one avenue. The moderator actually gave several other avenues.
But that's so what's being told to me is that if a cop comes and misuses his standing behind that badge, I have to sit there and call some separate number and deal with the fact that I just got violated.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Well, that is the procedure.
So you guys don't have, so the police officer that did that to me doesn't have to follow procedure, but I do.
Yeah.
No, he has to follow procedure. I never said that.
But that's what I'm saying. If I'm dealing with an officer that is not following procedure,
it's not following procedure, right? And that's why I'm happy that we have BWCs, because it's much easier now, so that we know. Tactically,
after the fact.
After they done killed you.
No, tactically.
After the fact, let's be clear.
After they done murdered you.
That could have been worse. the situation we dealing
Yeah,
with.
if them brothers didn't
I know,
step
and I
in,
get that.
if them brothers
So
didn't
they
step
know
in,
it.
they would have killed him. Yeah, you're right. It could have been worse.
And just so you can understand, even if you didn't bring it to us, there are random checks of all officers' BWCs every day, random. And if there is an infraction, even if you didn't report it, if there's an infraction, the supervisor that reviews it is obligated to immediately report it, correct it, and send it, and they will be charged. And it happens. It happens.
Understood.
Okay. So even if you didn't say anything, you know, these are the certain things that are put in place so we can reassure that our officers are doing things in the right way. Okay.
Understood.
Mr. Pepper,
How you doing?